Hello viewers, I'm Kayla Toola-Roola, and welcome to this Fridays of TTN Up Life, and comes with details that lead us to present today, which has the following news headlines. 13 resources tech leaders rely on for keeping up with industry news. Technology issue disrupts hospital services in Nottingham. iPhone delays weigh on Apple ahead of holiday season. The tech industry is constantly in motion, and tech professionals at any level must engage in continuous research and learning to keep up. Tech leaders often encourage their team members to set aside time each week solely for reading and learning, and many share their own favorite resources to help. With an eye on quickly and efficiently staying informed on all the latest tech news, the members of Forbes Technology Council have each developed their own strategies and lists of go-to sources of cutting-edge, reliable information. Below, 13 of them share resources they rely on and recommend to their team members for keeping up with industry-focused tech news. 1. TikTok. Interestingly, TikTok has become a way to stay up to date with what is happening in the industry. It often provides valuable insights into other tech company cultures. Of course, it does not provide in-depth insights, but there are channels for pretty much everything where you can stay up to date with what is happening in the industry. Arthur's Cruise, Mijbit. 2. YouTube. For the last few years, my go-to resource for high-level tech information has been YouTube. I find that if there is a topic, trend, or new technology I'm interested in learning more about, the visual medium is extremely compelling and easy to digest. Then, if I'd like to dig deeper, I can research further in other media or educational outlets. Daniel Jebaraj, Syncfusion Incorporated. 3. All In. The All In podcast is a great perspective on the tech industry from some of the most successful investors in history, people who have generated billions. David Sachs, Kamath Palihapitiya, David Friedberg and Jason Calacanis take on a wide variety of tech and non-tech stories every week. I don't always agree with their takes, but I appreciate their intelligence and passion. Jay Goldman, Sensei Labs. 4. Wired. Kicking off my list is Wired. An apex of tech trends, science, and breakthrough technologies, Wired keeps an eye out on everything happening in the tech world. Plus, it has a ton of podcasts on different topics, and if you're thinking of starting a tech company yourself, there's a section for entrepreneurs. If you stand on the edge of business and technology, Wired is a must-follow resource. Sergio Matii, Index. 5. Rest of World. One tech news website that shares original, well-curated media articles and newsletters is Rest of World. It's not a massive news company, but the shares are invariably valuable, and because it's a non-profit, it probably keeps them honest. Google alerts on my sector of e-commerce tech help too. Renier Matos Padilla, Oment.io. 6. IEEE. IEEE comprises several industry-specific societies that publish research articles by leading researchers. IEEE is one of the underappreciated platforms for reading tech news, and it is my go-to resource to stay updated on emerging industry trends before they hit the mainstream. LinkedIn is another great platform if carefully handled. Suresh Sethuramangsamya, Microsoft. 7. Email newsletters. You can make your inbox flourish with industry-focused content. The key is automatically sorting incoming emails by keyword into specific folders. Find the best newsletter providers in the space. Some good ones for me are CB Insights, HIMSS and many of the big consultancies. This will both help you stay up to date on news and help you build a sortable backlog of knowledge, all while avoiding spam. Nicholas Domness, EES Health. 8. TechCrunch. TechCrunch is one of the most comprehensive resources out there regarding tech news. It keeps me and my team updated with relevant articles about innovations in high-tech companies and startups around the world. Alex Cerci, Weight of 9. In-person industry conferences. Attending industry conferences in person again has been eye-opening this year, mainly because all the virtual conferences of the pandemic era demonstrated that there is a notable difference in terms of consuming conference content virtually. Being forced to block your calendar for a technology conference that you'll travel to is one of the best ways to ensure you can focus and retain knowledge. Hussein Sharaf, Cloudforce 10. Google Alerts. It's so simple, but I have about 20 Google Alerts set up for industry terms I'm interested in. I've scheduled them all to arrive once a week on Friday, and I spend the last hour of my working week reading through relevant content while applying what I'm reading to what happened in the week. It's automated and quick, and by scouring the entire internet, I ensure I'm not overly relying on one news source. Lewis Wynne-Jones, Think Data Works. 11 Peer networks. In a networked economy, the best way to get relevant, industry-focused tech news quickly is to be connected with a peer network with members who have similar responsibilities and interests and are at a similar place in life. The peer network could range from Usenet message boards to Twitter communities to Facebook or LinkedIn groups. Vishwas Manral, Sky High Security. 12 LinkedIn. In my experience, it is important to stay on top of industry news and trends by engaging with thought leaders. I do this through LinkedIn. I lean on and support the work of tech leaders while also building new relationships. This can also lead to collaboration in the future, whether it be a roundtable discussion or valuable marketing content. Matt Pierce, Immediate. 13 Emerging Tech Brew. For a high-level overview of technology developments, I read Emerging Tech Brew. This newsletter is sufficiently broad on topics, which makes it helpful to understand bigger trends that can impact our own businesses. Roland Paul. Some planned hospital procedures and outpatient appointments in Nottingham are expected to be postponed due to a technology problem. Nottingham University Hospitals posted about the IT issue on social media on Wednesday evening. It said it had slowed down clinical decision-making and delayed its ability to discharge patients. The hospital said it was also causing long ambulance waits and overcrowding in its emergency department. Nottingham University Hospitals said the IT issue was having a significant impact on its ability to process and report on blood samples. It said additional steps had been taken to maintain safe services. This included bringing in more staff and seeking support from health and social care partners. The hospital said, "We expect that some planned procedures and outpatient appointments will need to be postponed tomorrow. We apologize for the inconvenience and will contact those affected patients directly." It said the emergency department remained open, but asked people only to attend if they had a life-threatening condition or injury. Tech Brew. This newsletter is sufficiently broad on topics, which makes it helpful to understand bigger trends that can impact our own businesses. Roland Paulson, Wing Assistant. iPhone delays weigh on Apple ahead of holiday season. Wait times for Apple Incorporated's most expensive smartphones are rising to what analysts say are record levels as the holiday shopping season kicks off. The delays, resulting from COVID lockdowns around a Chinese plant run by a contract manufacturer of iPhones, could cause analysts to trim their earnings estimates for this quarter, which accounts for 35% to 40% of iPhone unit sales. That in turn could further pressure Apple's stock price, which has been a relative haven in this year's tech meltdown. This could cause some further headwinds for Apple, said Matt Maley, chief market strategist at Miller Tabak & Co. Consumers' finances are stretched because of rising food and energy prices, which will almost certainly cause the consumer to pull in their horns after the holidays. If that is the case, it's going to be tough for Apple to make up any lost holiday sales next year. An Apple spokesman said he didn't have any immediate comment on the wait times. If wait times don't improve over the coming weeks, unit sales could miss estimates, resulting in iPhone revenue coming in flat year-over-year instead of rising by about 2% as expected by analysts, according to UBS's David Voigt. Jefferies analyst Kyle McNeely assumes about 3 weeks of disruptions and estimates that each week of lockdown will cut $1 billion from revenue and 1 cent from earnings per share. Evercore ISI's Amit Daryanani estimates that this could push out about $3 billion of iPhone revenue into the March quarter. For bulls, that might be the best-case outcome. "We don't believe those will be necessarily lost orders," said Mark Stoeckel, Adams Fund's chief executive officer. "We think they'll be delayed orders." The disruptions forced Apple to provide a rare update only 10 days after the Cupertino, California-based company reported its fiscal fourth quarter earnings at the end of October. It said shipments of the new premium iPhones will be lower than expected because of the lockdowns. The timing couldn't have been worse for Apple. The stock has jumped 9.7% since a November 10 report showed U.S. consumer inflation was cooling a bit. That triggered a rally across tech stocks as investors took the view that the Federal Reserve might be able to soon slow its pace of interest rate increases. Apple, which had already impressed Wall Street with its earnings, added $191 billion to its market value in a single session, the most ever by a U.S. company. Apple relative to the other names still offers safety, said Louis Grant, senior portfolio manager at Federated Hermes Limited. Grant said he takes solace in the fact that Apple isn't entirely reliant on hardware, since the company can tap into a stream of recurring revenue from subscriptions to services such as Apple Music and Apple Arcade for video games. Analysts have cut their average Apple revenue estimate for this quarter by 1.7% over the past 3 months, compared to reductions of 2.6% to 6.5% at peers like Microsoft Corp., Alphabet Incorporated, and Amazon.com Inc. While the iPhone remains the cash cow for the company has been trying to expand sales elsewhere. To spur Mac sales, Apple launched a rare promotional deal for small businesses that buy computers in bulk, an effort to cope with a slowdown during the holiday quarter. As long as the issues are supply-related, it's okay, it's manageable, said Alec Young, chief investment strategist at MA Signals. If there's any hint of weakening demand, I think the stock price would be much more vulnerable. The market tends to be forward-looking, so it's much more sensitive to demand destruction given all the concerns about Meta claims U.S. military linked to online propaganda campaign. Individuals associated with the U.S. military are linked to an online propaganda campaign, Meta's latest adversarial threat report says. The campaign was the first major covert pro-US propaganda operation taken down by a big tech company, independent researchers said in August. It supported the U.S. and its allies, while opposing countries, such as Russia, China, and Iran. But experts said it was largely ineffective. On Facebook, 39 accounts, 16 pages, and 2 groups were removed, as well as 26 accounts on Instagram, for violating the platform's policy against coordinated inauthentic behavior. This network originated in the United States, Meta wrote. It focused on countries including Afghanistan, Algeria, Iran, Iraq, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Somalia, Syria, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and Yemen, and mirrored tactics commonly used in propaganda campaigns against the West, including fake personas, artificially generated images, campaigns across multiple platforms. The accounts targeting Iran had criticized Iranian authorities and their policies and posted about issues such as women's rights, researchers said. Some of those supporting the U.S. had posed as independent media outlets, and some had tried to pass off content from legitimate outlets, such as BBC News Russian, as their own. The operation ran across many internet services, including Twitter, YouTube, Telegram, vKontakty, and Odnoklassniki, according to Meta. Public trust. Although the people behind this operation attempted to conceal their identities and coordination, our investigation found links to individuals associated with the U.S. military, its report says. But most of the posts had little to no engagement from real users. U.S. think tank The Atlantic Council's Digital Forensic Research Lab managing editor Andy Carvin told the BBC when the campaign was first revealed, it would be ineffective and counterproductive for democracies to undertake such campaigns, because it meant using the very tactics used by your adversaries and further eroding public trust. Meta's announcement confirms previous reporting by The Washington Post. Sources told the newspaper concern over the operation had made the Pentagon complete a sweeping audit of how the U.S. military conducted clandestine information warfare. The U.S. Department of Defense told BBC News it was aware of the report published by Meta. At this time, we do not have any further comments on the report or potential actions that may be taken by the department as a result of the report. Coalition says Waterloo region had more hospital beds in the 1960s than today. The Waterloo Region Health Coalition is calling on the province to address staffing shortages in hospitals, while pointing to a decrease in available hospital beds as the population grows. During an online town hall meeting Wednesday night, the coalition, joined by the Ontario Health Coalition and the Ontario Nurses Association, OAN, said there aren't enough hospital beds, and in fact, there are fewer now than there were in the 1960s. According to the coalition, there were 937 hospital beds in Waterloo Region in 1961. They serviced a population of just 172,777 people. In 2020, get this, we have 20 fewer beds, 917 beds. Our population is 620,000 people, said Jim Stewart of the Waterloo Region Health Coalition. Cambridge Memorial Hospital says in 1962 it had 266 beds. Today there are 178. It's a different story at Grand River Hospital though, where there are 127 more beds than in the 1960s. But the hospitals say looking at the number of beds from 60 years ago is not a true comparison, as people stayed in hospital longer back then due to the types of surgeries and treatments available. Earlier this year, the Ontario government announced it aims to add thousands of healthcare workers and to free up hospital beds. One of the ways was passing a bill that allows hospitals to discharge patients awaiting long-term care to homes not of their choosing. Patients who refuse face a $400 per day charge. But the coalition says more is still needed to address what they're calling a crisis. Nursing vacancies in the hundreds. According to the ONA, there are more than 140 registered nurse, RN, vacancies in the Kitchener and Waterloo area right now. In the Kitchener-Waterloo area, we've had a workload for nurses at the highest level it's ever been due to the staffing shortages, said Angela Priokinen, first vice president of the ONA. There are over 140 vacancies for RNs, and the working conditions make it impossible to fill them. We are hearing that some postings get taken down with 0 applicants. This is just not sustainable. Earlier this month, the ONA said the staffing problems have been getting worse as the vacancy numbers increase. It is estimated there are over 400 nursing vacancies across Waterloo Region and Brant County, with the Brant Community Healthcare System recently noting there were 271 job vacancies, of which 178 were for nurses. Privatization concerns addressed. Organizers also raised concerns about the potential privatization of some hospital services. The call, made during one of a series of town halls across Ontario, comes a couple of months after Ontario Health Minister Sylvia Jones said the government was exploring innovation and opportunities for healthcare system changes, but did not specify what. And that's all for TTN Up Life this Friday. Follow our program every Friday at 7 p.m. on YouTube channel, TTN World. And follow all news on Facebook, TTN News, including Twitter and Instagram of TTN World. And follow every movement at TikTok and Likey at TTN World channel. And can watch TTN World via site, Infozit, Good TV, CSAT Visions, TISAT channel 112, GMMZAT channel 75, 3BB TV, channel 94. Ace Play Channel 640, and MV Box, including apps MVTV, MV Hub Plus, Lux TV and True ID. Tonight I'm Kayla Toola-Roola. Thank you for watching, and have a nice weekend. Goodbye for now and see you again.